This is Radio Swan with me, Samuel Reque.
It's Radio Swans!
Good morning, Swans! Great reference to a great movie. Good Morning, Vietnam. Anyway, welcome to this year's Radio Swan edition. This program will be aired once a week for the foreseeable future. We will be covering current issues, we'll have a few debates, share some opinions. If anyone wants to suggest a topic or volunteer as a tribute to come here and talk with me, for these scarce 5 minutes I've got, don't hesitate to send me an email. Here's a little teaser for future themes. Capitalism, pros and cons. Also, ready for the US presidential elections. Some of the best tips and tricks for saving the planet. Scientific advancements during the pandemic. And a business and economics special. Ooh, mysterious. Anyway, let's get back on track. Today's topic, latest books and a date with your next favorite novel. With me today is no other than our beloved Miss Kate Ling.
Hello.
Hi, Miss. What books did you bring with you today?
I have brought several books with me to recommend. All of these books can be borrowed from the Swans Library just by looking at the list and letting me know on bookplease@swanschool.net if you want to borrow anything. So I'm just going to mention a few of my favourites. Because this is Mental Health Week, I thought I'd mention a few books that actually are quite popular already with our students, namely all of Holly Bourne's books, which often have a sort of mental health theme. She's got one about obsessive-compulsive disorder, which she actually does suffer from herself, so that one's quite interesting because it's very personal.
Is it an autobiography?
It's not an autobiography, it is fiction and it's a character, but she obviously puts a lot of her own feelings and emotions, and it feels very real because of that. And she also is a youth counsellor, so she's spoken to a lot of teenagers who have issues and stuff. So a lot of her books are sort of very interesting in that way, very realistic, very in touch with the people who she's worked with. And then another one that's really good is Darius the Great is Not Okay, which is actually set in... Well, now I've forgotten, but I think it might be Tehran or somewhere like that. It's definitely somewhere...
Saudi Arabia?
Yes, in that region of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Although the character is Canadian or American, I think. But they travel there. But he's sort of struggling with his own mental health issues, but meets a friend who sort of helps him feel a lot better about himself. So that's a good one too. And we have both those in the library. Well, we have all of those in the library because Holly Bourne has quite a few. Another thing I wanted to just mention was the more sort of diverse voices that we represent in the library as well, because that's obviously been a topic that's been relevant and talked about a lot lately. And one of my favourites is a book called The Poet X, which is about a slam poet in New York. And the whole thing is written in poetry, in verse, which sounds awful, but you get used to it really quickly, and it's actually quite amazing. Mm-hmm. And another one that's really famous, and it's actually a Netflix movie now as well, I think, is The Hate U Give. I haven't seen the movie, but I've read the book, and it's great. Really, really good.
The book's probably better than the movie, like with every book.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more to it, and it's very kind of voicey and very alive, and easy to read as well. And then the last one on that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Long title, but really great book about two young, now what are they, sort of Mexican-American boys, and their friendship and how much they kind of bring to each other's lives, and that's a good one also.
Who would you recommend that book to? What year group?
I would say that all of those are actually a little bit more mature, so they're probably year 9 and up. Mm-hmm. But I will come to some later on that are more suitable for younger students. So speaking of that, I guess because it's October, everyone's thinking about Halloween and being, thinking spooky things and pumpkins and whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to mention a few books now that I find genuinely quite scary and creepy if you fancy being scared. But these are suitable for our year 6s, our 7s, our 8s. I love a book called The Lie Tree, which is about it's about a tree that you tell lies to, and it grows fruit depending on how big the lie is and how many people believe it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's really a strange concept, but it works quite well, and it's set in kind of Victorian times on a little island, so the whole atmosphere is a bit scary. And then these two are not traditionally thought of as scary, but I find them quite scary. The Girl of Ink and Stars and The Island at the End of Everything, which are both by the same author, who's called Kieran Millwood. And The Island at the End of Everything is about... I think that one's about a leper colony.
Okay.
But anyway, it's creepy. And same The Girl of Ink and Stars, which is sort of set on a mystical moving island where... her father's the cartographer, and it just has an eerie atmosphere. And then a little word here for Neil Gaiman books. So people might be familiar with Coraline from the movie. The animated movie, have you seen it?
I've not actually seen it.
If you should
Do you
see
recommend
it.
it too?
Yeah, if you want something for Halloween, it's freaky. Very, very scary.
I'll add that to my Netflix.
Yeah, so it's not traditional horror, it's a cartoon, and it looks quite cute when you first look at it, but it's actually very unsettling. And the book is the same as that in that it's unsettling, it's unnerving, and so is The Graveyard Book, which is another book that he wrote. So if you want to be unnerved, unsettled, and spooked, those are your go-to books. And can I finish off by telling you two of my favourite series?
Please do.
So we have these in the library now, brand new and lovely and unread, essentially. Apart from by me. So one is the Curse Breakers trilogy. It will be at the moment, though the third one isn't out till January. But if you're looking for something to be completely hooked by, the first two are brilliant. And then the other series is the Cruel Prince trilogy or Folk of the Air trilogy. Both of them you realise are quite kind of like fantasy-ish, but that is definitely my favourite thing. But it's popular with a lot of people, I think. So the Folk of the Air one starts with the Cruel Prince, then there's the Wicked King, and then there's the Queen of Nothing. And anybody who's read them, which actually quite a few of our students have, or it's been quite popular with the book groups and stuff, it's very addictive. So those are my recommendations.
Amazing. I hope people take your recommendations, go to the library, pick up some books, have a bit of fun with some Halloween themed books, or maybe some mental health related books for this week's theme. So thank you for listening to our weekly podcast, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.